If you want to see amazing and exciting duels, informative and entertaining top 10 lists, and everything else that's just great about the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, you gotta watch the Capital G show. Shout out to my homeboy Dante. Hey. What's up YouTube, Capital G here. So we're looking at a crazy deck, a deck that I could not have possibly built on my own. This was actually played at a Japanese tournament. Once again, we're talking about the OCG here, and just to put things into perspective, this was 312 players. So no one can be like, well, it probably was a event of like 30 people. No, it was 300. That's pretty damn big. That's almost the size of like an ARG, and actually this ended up getting first place. So I mean, it seems like Clownblade is clearly a thing, and it's going to be one of those things that we just have to deal with. Now in the OCG, again, it is definitely a different deck on probably a different level, because they have things like Cyber Dragon, Infinity, and it's crazy. I said it before, they don't even play Shockmaster anymore. It's like they don't even need the card. But this is a very special version. This runs Volcanics, and it also runs the Empowered Warriors. So I guess the concept name right now is Volcanic Empowered Clownblade. Try saying that 5 times fast. So anyways, we all know what Clownblade is. Clownblade is pretty much a combination of the performages that are coming out of Clash of Rebellion and then the heroic challengers that we already have in the TCG. And I mean, these guys are kind of made for like rank 4 to begin with, but then when you add the performages and their just absurd power that Trick Clown gives them to constantly just get it back from the graveyard, get it back from the graveyard. Every time that this card comes back, you take 1,000 light points, you summon his buddy, and then you just go into like crazy rank 4s. Eventually, after about 2 turns or 2 times of doing that, your opponent has like they've run out of ways of killing your rank 4s. Because I would say that if you're talking non-archetype base, Clownblade is, even though it just kind of got on the scene, I'm gonna say it's the most consistent rank 4 spam non-archetype based deck that we've ever seen. And don't say, well, what about Satellite Knights, because that's clearly archetype based. So what I think the reason why that this deck was basically built is to try and replicate some of the things that we have in the TCG. You know, you immediately notice there's no Regeki in this deck. Well, they don't have Regeki in the OCG, so why not add Volcanics? Not only do you give yourself speed, because you have cards like you know, reload and whatnot, but then you get the ability to essentially Regeki your opponent with Volcanic Scattershot. And even though he doesn't run Royal Firestorm Guard, so you're like, oh, well, he can only use it once or twice. Well, again, this is a rank 4 spam deck, so I mean, clearly you can summon Daigusto Emerald. Where's it at? There you go. You can summon a Daigusto Emerald. You can put your scatter shots back into your deck so that you can use it a second time, and they have Pot of Avarice over there, so they don't have to mess around with the crappy Jar of Avarice, the kind of spin-off card that we got. They get to play the original. They can put back all of those volcanic cards that they burned through in the first couple of turns after Regekiing their opponent, and draw 2 cards, and then just banish like another reload and just Regeki them again. So I also think that one of the reasons why the Empowered Warriors were ran in this deck, not just their, you know, some of their good monsters, but the field spell, and he went all YOLO on the field spell, running 3 copies of Terraforming, is because this card basically acts as a Rhoda. I don't know if you guys have read the effect, but not only do all spellcaster, dragon, and warriors get like a little attack boost, the 300, it's probably nothing game breaking. It can turn, I guess, you know, your heroic monsters into potential beaters, but the main reason you're gonna want to use this card is for the fact that you can discard a card, and then you get to search for any of the Empowered Warriors. And as soon as I thought, okay, discarding a card, hello Volcanic Shell, hello Trick Clown, because that's not something you really need in the hand. You can just use it from the graveyard, and when you summon Trick Clown from the graveyard, you get this guy, so you can discard this guy as well. Same thing goes for Zephyros. You don't really need Zephyros in your hand. You can just discard it, and then you can bounce this card, and then you can special summon it for free. So this deck has a ton of tutor ability, and that's important in the OCG because they only have 1 copy of Reinforcements of the Army. So, you know, Trick Clown might actually be way more consistent in the TCG because we have 3 copies of Rhoda, so we can get to these guys whenever the hell we want to. And the OCG, they kind of have to, you know, jump through hoops and whatnot. And the thing about the Empowered Warriors and why I would believe that they'd be in this deck is they tutor a lot of things in this deck. Well, they tutor like the main engines. Discard, you know, if it's destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect while it's on the field, you can just get yourself a Trick Clown. You can get yourself any of the heroic cards. So it gives you a quick way to get to your engine. And then, of course, if you're not special summoning, you're not trying to go rank 4, then you obviously have the good opening plays of things like Volcanic Rocket. Just, you know, summon Team Rocket, get your Volcanic Reload, go +1. So I would think that this deck is definitely something where, I mean, at the core, this is still a rank 4 deck, but this deck does have the ability to do some of the things in the OCG that the OCG doesn't generally have. They obviously don't have Regeki, but you can play Scattershot and potentially use it 3 times in a duel. So that's basically the same thing as being able to use Regeki and being able to use Regeki on your opponent's turn. You know, they only have 1 copy of Rhoda, so it's kind of difficult for them to get to their warriors, but you can play Empowered Armory. You can discard cards, mainly, you know, like Volcanic Shell, Zephyros, Trick Clown, whatnot, and you can search out your Empowered Warriors. You can also, you know, use those discards for the Dragonox. Dragonox is just, it's kind of like a Wolf Bark, except you have to pay a cost of a discard. But again, if you discard the right cards like Shell and you discard like Trick Clown or maybe even, you know, 1,000 Blades, it's not really an issue. Those cards are just going to pay for themselves either during that same turn or during your next turn anyway. So this is a really interesting deck. It's going to be interesting to see if this version of the deck is actually played in the TCG. And quite frankly, you know, I've been one of those people where I have been really high on Clash of Rebellion. I was excited about the set just because of the Red Eye support, but now that we're getting the Empowered Warriors and, you know, the performages in the same set, like, this is looking like it could be an all-time set. Like, I might have to amend my top 10 booster sets of all time, because Clash of Rebellion is looking like an incredibly good set. This set might change the game up because the performages are clearly nuts. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribing makes life happy.